From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media.
You're feeling the same, and it is time for the premiere. You got to get guys out of the room, and it's that simple, and that's exactly what the Broncos did. They got a lot of dead weight off of the team. They got guys who weren't producing off the team. A lot of people laughed at him when they got rid of Frank Clark. A lot of people laughed at him when they got rid of Randy Gregory. But you know what? They've been winning ever since they got rid of those guys. Those guys weren't good for their locker room. So that's why they're out of here. Russell Wilson has got comfortable with the receivers that he feels are going to be the guys that can get him, that he can trust. Jerry Jeudy is a guy who's in and out of the lineup pretty much, when it comes to attitude and things of that nature and, stepping it up and all that good stuff. And then you have Sutton, who has been somewhat of a, godsend for him, and Mims has been great as well too. So there's a lot of things that have worked out for this team. And last night they really won with a lot of creative play making and everything like that. Russell Wilson is one of the best when it comes to being a deceptive passer, and pretty much everything was on full display last night, and they were able to get a win. It was a little controversial because there was a pass interference call that did get them inside the 22, kick that field goal as well too. We know that there was a lot of issues about the Bills running a zero blitz at that moment in time. I thought that it was a great call. It's just that the safety messed up. As many Raiders and Browns and Steelers games that I've watched over the years and seen them run a zero blitz in a situation like that, and the same exact thing happened. So, you just have to be more conscientious when you're defensive back in that situation. That did wind up losing them the game. 12 man on the field, they miss a field goal, but it's a redo because you guys didn't have yourself organized. Because Denver did the right thing. Denver rushed their crew onto the field with no timeouts, while the Buffalo Bills literally left their defense out there, but somebody from the special teams ran out there to try to help block the kick, and it just didn't work. So, there's a lot of things that just did not go right last night for the Bills. But I will say one thing, though. It didn't go to the point to where you needed to fire your offensive coordinator. I think that was a lame duck excuse from a team that's absolutely falling apart at this moment. I didn't even want to believe that the Buffalo Bills were falling apart, but they are. And you know what? When you fire the coach the way that they did today, it just goes to tell you that the blame is being directed towards the wrong end. I think that pretty much the direction of whoever made the biggest mistakes last night has to be directed back towards the head coach. He is an absolute terrible clock management coach. He just doesn't do well in that situation. He doesn't set up situations the correct way. And there's a lot that gets told on the Bills when these games do happen. They've lost a lot of close games because of bad decision-making throughout the game. And you know what? Josh Allen is not exempt. He can't play reckless. He can't put his team in a bad spot. And he can't play scary either. Jeff mentioned that kind of profusely on the show earlier today on NFL Bet Exchange that, that he feels like he's playing a little scared. And I have to agree. So Josh is going to have to step up his game, and he's going to have to understand that none of these games are going to get handed to you. Just because the Bills have a great look going into the game does not mean that they are a lock to win these games. And that's what showed up last night. And you know what? A lot of us really did discount how well the Broncos were doing at this point. They've won 3 games in a row. The Buffalo Bills are coming fresh off of a loss, and the Buffalo Bills have not looked that good since being 3-1. They're 5-5 now. That means that this team has went 2-4 in that stretch. So there's a lot of things that this team needs to improve on. There's a lot of things that they need to get better at, and the Broncos are actually coming into their own. They're now tied with the Chargers for the second place in the AFC West, even though there is a little bit of a tie going on too with the Raiders, who are 5-5, but they're right there, right where they need to be actually fighting for that final playoff spot right now, because we know how it goes with the AFC. They got 5, 6, 7 teams that are vying for a playoff spot right now. It's like they don't even have enough teams in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And pretty much there's 14 teams right now, and 7 of them are running for trying to get into the playoffs. There's the another 7 that are already in the playoffs, but there's only 4 that are really locked for the playoffs at this moment, and that's all the division leaders except for whoever's leading the AFC North, and that's going to be the Ravens. So pretty much with that, that's just going to wrap it up for this topic in hand. But the Bills need to – there's a lot of things that the Bills need to fix, and it wasn't firing the offensive coordinator. They really do need to figure out how to manage this clock. They need to figure out how to keep Josh Allen's turnovers down, and they need to get a consistent running game so he doesn't always have to be in the middle of the running game. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of things that need to get fixed with the Bills. And you know what? As I said on our show earlier today, they're just a team that's in need of a bye as well, too. Because at the end of the day, the team is 5-5 right now. That means they haven't had any time off. They play the Jets next week. So I do think they do get their bye week 12. So they should be able to get some rest to get back, get the batteries recharged. They need it, and they need it desperately. All right, let's move forward. Let's talk about our next topic in hand, which is going to be this, and that's going to be, is Coach Prime's methods working against him and his team? Will he bail for the SEC? Questions. Well, Dion and his group have went a resounding 1-7 since going 3-0 to start the season. And right now they're sitting at 4-7. None of this looks really good at all. They've played some really close games, so you can't say that the team's quit on them or anything like that. But you know what? The realization of exactly who Colorado truly was has came to light. Colorado was never a team that was really high on being a bowl team, in a sense. They were high in their mind on being a bowl team, but most of the prognosticators, most of the guys who predict things, who follow this game, who really go ahead and analyze this game, gave the Colorado Buffs no shot. They're really literally sitting right at the win total that they were given. You know, it had bumped up to 3, and it went from 3 to 3.5. It never really changed. They've won 4 games. Yeah, you went over your win total for the year, but still, at the same time, too, you really have underachieved. And they haven't really looked that good since, you know, their 3rd game that they had, where they had a very, very tricky game with Colorado State that could have went either way. And then they rolled into their first game against Oregon, got absolutely body slammed by the Ducks, and it's been downhill ever since. They eked out a win in Tempe against the Sun Devils, who are probably the worst team in the conference, but they did just recently beat UCLA last Saturday. So, you know, that game was tough for them. And it seems like all the games have been very tough in the Pac-12 for the Colorado Buffaloes at the end of the day. And you thought that Dion's magic touch was going to be able to get these guys going and deliver a magical 9-2 season. Well, you got it all the way wrong. Sorry. It was never going to happen. There's a lot of people that put the cart before the horse when it comes to Dion and the Buffaloes. And people got really excited about 3 wins against 3 teams that are not playing great football right now. TCU is probably at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the Big 12. Nebraska is a middling team in the Big 10 that's now starting to get their footing right. And Colorado State is just a team in the Mountain West that is just there. So they're not really relevant in a sense, even though they're building something there. Then you get to who you actually played, and these teams absolutely knew that they were going to beat Colorado. They were never scared when they walked into these games. They didn't have any type of fear factor to them. And so that's why it feels like Colorado, the whole love fest for Colorado has pretty much ceased to exist at this moment, because a lot of people finally realize that Dion has to build this thing up. And then as you're trying to build this thing up, Texas A&M goes ahead and fires Jimbo Fisher, something that was overdue. They should have probably did it last year, so then they could have did a very good search for a coach. Now it feels like they're trying to hit a home run out the park with another big name coach. And pretty much that's what people are trying to set them up for. And the first name that they mentioned is Deion Sanders. What has Deion Sanders done on the FBS level to go ahead and have him jump the line to become the head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies, a team that did have expectations to be one of the better teams in the SEC this year? Yes, he does have a Texas background from living over there the last 25 years or so, from his Dallas days and everything like that. He stuck around a little bit. His kids went to high school out there, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't have him at the top of the list at Texas A&M. Texas A&M doesn't have difficulty selling tickets out. They don't have difficulties bringing players to College Station. They don't have difficulties putting together a great contract for a great coach. But Deion Sanders does not warrant the same amount of money that Jimbo Fisher was making just because he did a good job at Jackson State, HBCU, which is, pretty much a just above community college in a sense. You know what I mean? Because you got grown ass men who were like 35, 36 years old playing for those teams. So at the end of the day, that's just guys just still living the dream. But when you get to Colorado, you're dealing with guys that you're playing against guys that are going to be playing at the next level. Everybody has one guy that's going to be at a combine, that's going to be at the scouting, at least one guy that will be there. And since they're in the Pac-12 and the way that the Pac-12 has been this year, they're going to have dozens and 20s of guys who are seniors and guys leaving school that are all going to be advertising for the NFL. And let's keep it real. Colorado doesn't have that many NFL guys. Everybody talks about Shakur. Everybody talks about Hunter. But I always say that the best player on the team is Shiloh Sanders. Shiloh Sanders is the only one that gives me the look of being a Pro Bowl player on Sundays. He plays the game somewhat like his father, but he's a little bit more physical. And so pretty much they got something with that. But all in all, Deion would not be doing the right thing if he was to bail on Colorado, because he's already took us on that ride before, and I don't think this one will be a ride that will be that comfortable. I think a lot of people will have a lot to say about him making a move like that at this point in time, because it's not the right thing to do. You said that you were going to build this thing up at Colorado. You were going to put Colorado on the map. This is Prime's house. You guys can go from there. People had to understand, sometimes when you stay at one school and build that school up, that's how you become Joe Paterno. That's how you become Bear Bryant. That's how you become Terry Donahue. That's how you become John Robinson. You build up the school that gave you the opportunity. And right now, people have to just dial it back. Deion Sanders is not that great of a coach yet. He's a good talker, but he's not that great of a coach. He can sell himself. He can sell a game. But at the end of the day, it does not matter if your team cannot execute. It does not matter if you want to be the star of the team and keep and make these guys feel like, they have to play to a certain level every single week to be up to your standard. And you know that they're not good enough for that at this moment, because the teams that they're playing are way better than whatever you were playing in the in the SWAC. It's just at the end of the day, this is not hating. This is the truth. And Deion Sanders has to understand that you got to take it one step at a time. But really, it's not even Deion. The people that are rooting for Deion have to just relax. I understand that you guys get excited because he high stepped in a football game in his career and all that stuff. But you got to stop living off of what he did on the playing field and start really evaluating for him for who he is right now. And right now, he is a middling, mediocre college football coach at a school that is building something kind of special, but it's starting to get a little bit of a annoying tone to it, because it seems like Colorado had a bit more expectations for this team after going 3-0. Now they're looking at this like, is this what we really signed up for? Is this what it's really about? So it's going to take some time to actually go back and repair some relationships with your alumni, with your boosters and things like that, because, there was a lot of promises made and they ain't been followed up on. You know what I mean? Dion gave them the idea that they were going to be an instant impact the moment that they went 3-0. And you know what? It didn't happen. And there's boosters over there. They're not going to be loud about it now, but they're over there questioning, why is he our coach? Why is he putting himself above the team? There's a lot of things that are being talked about behind closed doors. But at the end of the day, I understand that people have their fanship for Dion, but they have to hold him accountable for being a head coach in college football. This is not 1995 anymore and him getting an interception for the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. That day is over with. It's about right now. And right now, he don't look that good, okay? So with that, I will say this. No SEC, no Texas A&M. I don't even know why you guys would even consider he should be even a candidate for that job when your team is 4-7. 4-7. It doesn't matter what you did in the NFL. It doesn't matter if you're a Hall of Fame player. You cannot jump the line like that in college football. There's guys that have been coaching for 25 years that do a much better job than you. So at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to do that. So stop coming up with stupid ass ideas. Seriously, y'all got to stop at the end of the day. Y'all putting too much pressure on people that don't need that pressure. Moving on. So let's go ahead and talk about college football, the game that we got going tonight. That's going to be Mac Tuesday. Mac Daddy, make you jump. And we got Toledo, Bowling Green. This should be a pretty good game. And I truly feel that what happens here is that you have a Toledo team that always plays so well until we get to November and December. And they start playing like absolute opposite of who they truly are. And you know what? This Bowling Green team has had their number for the last few years. And Bowling Green has been so good to me in these games when it comes to I'll address that in a second, but he said he said Rel is going off. So back to what I was saying. But all in all, though, Toledo is a team that gets itself in trouble. But they got the team that should absolutely come in here and crush. Boom, 1,000-yard rusher already with 12 touchdowns on the season. Finn, 2,000 yards passing this year, 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, only been sacked 4 times. So you have some good numbers here. He has 4 receivers that are absolutely crushing it for him right now as well too, especially when it comes to Newton, who has 9 touchdowns on the season. So, Toledo comes in here really looking superior towards Bowling Green. But Bowling Green's a bunch of fighters, man. They got a great quarterback in Baselak who's able to balance things out. It gets a little rough for him, but you got a good running game that bails him out. Stewart's up here, 762 yards, 8 touchdowns on the season. And, you got a good receiver core because you got Keith, who's doing it both. He's being versatile. He leads the team in receptions, and he's the second leading rusher for this team. And he has 5 touchdowns overall, 3 receiving and then 2 on the ground. So, you work these things out. And then they do have a pretty good defense that has done their job, especially when it comes to Cassius Howell, who has 7.5 sacks on the season. So, Bowling Green is a live dog in this game. And I just don't trust Toledo tonight. I don't care that they coming in here 9-1, they blowing doors off, all that good stuff. I want to make some money tonight. So I really do like Bowling Green to go ahead and get this upset. Bowling Green's coming in here riding a 4-game winning streak as we speak. And we all know Toledo is already undefeated in conference play this year. So this game does set up to be one of the better games of the MAC season. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. But I do like Bowling Green tonight with the plus 310 Money line, let's do it again. Because we've been doing it the last 2 years and it's been hitting cha-ching. So there it is. There it is. We move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into some boxing. We got Shakur De Los Santos fight week. They are fighting for the WBC 135 belt lightweight championship of the world. And it has begun. Who has the edge going into Thursday night? Well, everybody will say that it's Shakur. Shakur is a two-division champion. Shakur has been seen as the next up, in a lot of circles. A lot of people compare him to Floyd Mayweather. People compare him to Terrence Crawford. People compare him to all the great boxers of the past. And he feels like he's on a list where he can topple all of them. But I don't think that he's quite there yet. But that's some wishful thinking. And you like your champions to have that type of confidence. You want a guy to have some real goals in this business other than just getting paid and riding around in nice whips and putting on jewelry and then going and fighting, B or C level fighters. You know what I mean? I think that Shakur is trying to fight the best. I think he is trying to go at the best. And I think that he does understand that there's a possibility he can lose the fight, but he's willing to take the fight. And that's what most boxers are willing to do. It's always the side people that are negotiating and figuring out ways to be the duck or be the person that avoids this guy and avoids that guy, but I'll fight this guy. So that's why you have management. That's why you have good people coming up with man, too funny. But Neff, you were too silly. Stop coming up with stupid ass ideas. Lots of laughs. Stop. Well, but all in all, though, man, by Sequillawees and stuff. But when it comes to Shakur and De Los Santos, this is one of the better fights of the year for the division. If you say anything, start of the year you had Tank in Garcia fight, not Ryan, but when he fought Hector Garcia, and that was a big lightweight fight right there. The super fight, which was at pretty much a catch weight. So, you had a catch weight situation with that. They came in there 138 for that. So, pretty much that one was not really a lightweight fight. That was a mega fight. But this is a title fight. You have Shakur, who's chasing that WBC belt. He did have his WBC belt stripped when he was at 130 because he couldn't make weight. And that wasn't any fault of his. It's just that you outgrow the weight. It happens. But, a lot of people will hold that against you and, say a whole bunch of stuff, but they just don't understand that when you're 130, 135, 126, that weight is hard to make as you're growing into your man strength and things like that people say. And when you're walking around and you're not a 5'3" midget, then pretty much you are gonna gain weight and you're gonna get bigger. Shakur is about 3-4 inches shorter than me, so you'll probably see me and think I'm 6 foot, but I'm only 5'10". So pretty much you got Shakur, who's about 5'6", 5'7", and then when he's in the ring, he looks about 5'8", 5'9". So, at the end of the day, this guy is really, making a path for himself. If I was to give him any advice, I would say stop chasing, stop talking, just go about this business the way that you can. And you know what? Just seek and destroy. That's all you got to do. Whoever signs the contract, whoop their ass. That's what you do. And then eventually, when you start winning these belts and you start making the money and you're able to throw out the money, then you know what? People are going to sign those contracts a lot quicker. Ask Floyd Mayweather and ask Sugar Shane Mosley, ask Oscar De La Hoya. They had to really scrap, fight, and really become household names. Shakur is not a household name. He's known by a lot of sports fans and a lot of sports fanatics and things of that nature, but that doesn't ring big numbers outside of this, though. That's the whole thing. That's just the boxing world. The boxing world has become a minimal situation in the sports world in the grand scheme of things. When you look at the food chain, the NFL is Ruth Chris. Boxing is rallies checkers. It don't know what it want to be week in and week out. Are we doing tag team? Are we doing females fighting men? What are we doing here? We got 55-year-old men fighting for 6 rounds of just exhibitions because they got some bills to pay. And they just touting the fact that they used to be champions 20 years ago or contenders that got knocked out by great champions. Boxing right now knows exactly what the problem is. And you have to be able to sell your stars. And they're not doing a good job of selling Shakur Stevenson. And that's on Top Rank at the end of the day. That's on Top Rank. They got the ESPN engine behind them, and they still can't make this guy the household name that he actually deserves to be. And then you see Edwin De Los Santos, a guy that they're not giving any chances to, because you know what? They see him as a guy who was already thrown to the wolves. And you know what he did to the wolves? He came out with the wolf's head on top of his crown, buddy. And you know what? This guy is dangerous. He went in there and they put him against one of the hardest punchers in the division. He absolutely annihilated him and made him look like amateur hour, to where Chris Colbert was able to go ahead and show truly that the guy is not that great of a fighter. So, great of a boxer. He's a good fighter, but not a great boxer. And that's the thing. Will De Los Santos be able to expose Shakur Stevenson? When you say who has the edge going in, it's without a doubt Shakur Stevenson. But who has the mental edge? You know what I mean? Who really does have the mental edge? We know that Shakur can talk himself into, you believing in anything he's going to do, because he's going to keep telling you he's the best. But Edwin De Los Santos is taking this very easy. He's being chill. He's just putting his work in. And I think that he wants to go off and show the world that he's not coming to just be an opponent for Shakur Stevenson. He's coming to try to win the WBC belt, because the belt is vacant. The belt does not belong to anybody. The winner takes the belt. And that's the whole thing. If you're doing big business, you want Shakur to win, because then you can start the hype for the Devin Haney fight, or possibly a super fight with Teofimo, since they're both on the same promotion. Or you get yourself ready for Tank. But right now, he's not on any of those guys' minds. What he has to do is he has to go seek and destroy and go ahead and collect those belts as fast as possible, as he can keep making weight at 135. And that's just really what it is at the end of the day. And if you guys do want to know what night they're fighting, it's sitting right there. They're going to be fighting Thursday night. They start the broadcast at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, so then they don't have to interfere with what's going on, because TNF, they got the big football game between the Ravens and the Bengals, and that does have playoff ramifications to it as well too. So people aren't just going to run to watching Shakur come on at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So they're putting him on at the right time. He's probably going to not walk to the ring till about 8:15, 8:30 at the most, because they're going to have the co-main event before the main event. So you probably won't get Shakur in the ring until 8:30, no later than 8:45. So I don't think any of us are going to wind up missing that fight. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. And when I get back, we will jump into the NBA. We got State of the Lakers, and we got NBA Tuesday night. And you know what? It's tournament night. So let's go ahead and break it on down. But you guys stay cool. Stay right there, and I'll be right back to you. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Sorry about that. And man, let me get that off. I thought I had got that off. So here we are, and we're back. And I'm just over here trying to get this show promoted up so you guys know that it's on right now, and make sure you retweet and all that good stuff. But let's go ahead and jump into it. State of the Lakers. The Lakers do have a game with Memphis tonight. The Grizzlies are playing some of the worst basketball in the NBA right now, but it's okay. You know, a lot of teams, I keep telling people, you don't measure teams on the first 10 games of the year in the NBA. You just don't, because it's stupid. It's not a smart idea. You can't sit up here and cook a team that you know is shorthanded. Once Ja Morant comes back fully healthy, full of energy, the Grizzlies are going to wind up being one of the better teams in the NBA. Just chill. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, you get through November, he'll be back mid-December, and once he gets back, they'll be back in tune. And I think that, you know, after you play the Lakers a few times, you'll be back in tune. Well, tonight they got the in-season tournament with the Lakers. They're in Group A with the Lakers as well, too. So that's a lot of fun. You have a Grizzlies team that have lost their last 3 out of 5. The Lakers had lost 3 in a row before winning their last 2. So, you know, these teams aren't that much different from each other. And you know what? They're not scoring they're not scoring that many points. They're not that far apart on the points average. The Lakers are 19th while they are 26th. The Lakers are only averaging 111 to the Grizzlies 109. So this game looks like it could be close. When you look at it, the Lakers are not great shooting three-pointers this year either. The Lakers are 29th in percentage, and they are 28th in three-pointers made. So that's something that needs to be fixed, but this is something that really needs to be fixed. The Lakers' total rebounds is just ugly. This team was top 5 last year in rebounding. This year, they're 22nd. They got to fix it. They got to fix it ASAP. And, you know, you got Wood and Hayes. These dudes are 7 feet tall. Why are you out there running to go shoot a damn three-pointer? Just get your big butt up under the rim and get a rebound. That's what you're here for. You're not here to be the three-point shooting champion. This is why big men are so stupid in today's NBA. Take advantage of your God-given ability, and that's being the tallest man on the court. That means that you can be the most dominant man on the court if you just keep your butt up under the rim. It's not that hard. Jeez Louise, man. You know, your teammates need you to do more than just run up and down the floor. That's all I see with Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes. And then everybody always wants to put everything on AD, but AD always does his damn job as a center. He goes and scores points, and he goes and gets rebounds. The Lakers need to cut on the tape of the 2008-2009 Lakers, and then you can see how that team won a championship so easily, because Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum sacrificed points to get more rebounds. So they need to do the same thing or get on down the road. It's that simple. Gabe Vincent, Vando, stop playing around on the sideline so much and get healthy. That's the biggest thing that you guys two need to do, especially you, Gabe Vincent, because we had to give up Dennis. We gave up Dennis Schroeder with the idea you was going to be better. This guy played in 3 games and hasn't done anything to impress anybody. Vando, we understand. You got a heel issue. You should be back possibly mid-November, probably the end of the month, right after Thanksgiving possibly. Rue's playing good basketball as the head man off the bench, but he started the other night. Reeves is much better off the bench, like I already knew. So that works out pretty well for the Lakers as well, too. And then you got LeBron, who's a 50-50 tonight. He's a game time decision. If he doesn't play, no big deal, because I like the way that this team looks when he's not on the court. They know how to be assertive when he's not there. I feel like they play kind of lazy when LeBron's out there playing with them, because LeBron does so damn much and really doesn't let others do what they're supposed to be doing. But nobody's going to ever say that. They're always going to say the most selfless, the most this, that, and the third. But LeBron is kind of the hindrance to the Lakers. But you guys will realize this as the season keeps going along. But right now, we got to stay positive. We got to get ourselves back into the above 500 category. And I think everybody will ease up a little bit, because out of 10 games, the Lakers are even again. And it feels a lot like last year, where the Lakers were even most of the year, or they lose 4 out of 6 or 3 out of 7. And then they turned it on for another 30, 40 game stretch to where they became the best team in the NBA. And so record-wise. So pretty much it is what it is at the end of the day. And I think that, coming into tonight's game, you cannot sleep on the Grizzlies at all. It doesn't matter if LeBron's in or out. The Lakers have not shown us that they can blow anybody out. So the Lakers know that they're going to probably be in for it. So I wouldn't take the Lakers to cover tonight. If you really want the Lakers, you're going to have to overspend on the money line tonight, in my opinion. But I would say play the over. I think the over is going to be a good play tonight. I think defense is not going to be as crazy as it's been for the Lakers the last few games, but the Lakers do play a different type of game at home than they do on the road. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we go from there. Let me go ahead and answer this question real quick. Nephew is asking me questions, and he said, Rel, question, do you think the bubble is the hardest championship ever? And I would say that, hell yeah. And it's not because the Lakers won it. It's because, dude, you were playing in a gym with no crowd. And then you had a crowd, but it was only a little bit of a crowd. Then you really were able to see who was killers and who wasn't in the NBA. You had to really play with your best effort because you didn't have anything hiding you anymore. I think everybody got a chance to understand exactly how good certain players are in the NBA. And I feel like a lot of people really kind of were just mad because LeBron did it, but LeBron just showed everybody at that point in time he was the best player in the league, and AD showed that he was the second best player in the league for that season and for that time. You guys got to understand, this is a year-to-year league. This is not about him dominating for the next 5 years and dominating for the next 10 years. It's about right now. And if you can consistently keep doing it, then great, good for you. You become you become a legend. You become somebody that's very seen, very needed for the NBA scope of greatness. But at the end of the day, you're only going to get a few of those seasons, man. And so I look at it and I say to myself that, yes, it was the hardest championship. And I don't agree with Gilbert a lot, but Gilbert does have a good point with that as well, too. But at the same time as well, let's get over it already. You know what I mean? Let's move on. The bubble happened. It's always going to be a insignificant championship because the circumstances that it was in and because who won it. It was the Lakers who won it. Now, if you had, say, the Heat win it, they would have said, oh, my God, this was incredible. We should do the bubble every year because then teams will actually play up to who they truly are and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? The Lakers won, and all of a sudden, they fixed it for the Lakers. It was fixed. It had to be fixed for the Lakers, even though the Lakers had the best record in the NBA when the bubble went out. The Lakers were 24-3, dog. Okay, so let's all keep it real with ourselves. The Lakers had every intention of winning the championship that year, and possibly they could have not won the championship if there wasn't a bubble. It would have been a difficult task to win the championship. The Clippers would have been a tough out. And I'm going to keep it real with you. The Nuggets probably don't beat the Clippers on a 3-1 comeback if the game is on, if we're playing, with fans. The Clippers weren't going to lose that game in front of their fans. You know what I mean? a game 5 and you up 3-1, they wasn't going to lose that game, but you're damn sure losing in a bubble. You know what I mean? So we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the NBA. We got the Hornets and the Heat. The Heat coming in here 6-4 right now. You have the Hornets who are 3-6, plus 5.5 point spread tonight on this game as well too. You know what I see here, I think that this is going to be a game. I know it's a tournament game, but this is a divisional game. So everybody talking about, oh, they're not going to play that hard in the tournament. Well, they're counting wins and losses until you get to the championship of the tournament. And a lot of these teams are playing divisional games within the tournament. So these divisional games are a lot more important to the bottom line of things than a damn in-season tournament. So I would think that Charlotte would be on their A game tonight. I would think that the Heat would be on their A game tonight. That's why they set it up like this, because if they really wanted to do a tournament, they should have went random and threw Eastern and Western Conference teams together. But you know what? They'll figure it out as they go. But they'll probably not be doing this next year. So you got a Miami team that's 6-4. They're playing good basketball, but they're not playing great basketball, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And then you have a Hornets team that struggling as usual. You know what I mean? They really no cohesiveness, but at least they got LaMelo back. And, LaMelo is averaging 21 points a game. He's getting his assist every night as well, too, 8.3. And you know what? He got to cut down on the turnovers. But other than that, LaMelo is doing LaMelo because the dude is good. He's played 9 games this year as well, too. So, you have that working out for you that, your best player has been available. And, Terry Rozier has been good as well, too. But it's just not enough, because once you get past their top 6 scorers, they don't really have much on the back end of that. But you know what? They're trying to get it. They're trying to be better. You know what I mean? They're top 15 in assists. They're top 15 in turnovers. They're top 15 in rebounds. These are things that can help you become a better team. They're 6th in scoring. Field goal percentage, they're 8th. And then free throw percentage is something that they can't fix. But just like the Lakers, they're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. They are at rock bottom in both stats. So that means that maybe you might not want to shoot so damn much. So pretty much I feel like the Hornets tonight, they're going to give the Heat some difficulty. But it's going to wind up being another game where defense is not going to be at the premium. Defense is probably not going to even be called upon tonight. So I'm taking the over 222.5 because that's a good number. The Heat are riding a 5-game winning streak coming into this game tonight, while you have a Hornets team that's struggling here in the month of November. They're 2-4, and they actually lost their last game by 22 to the Knicks. So they're going to want to bounce back and get right with this one. Their last home game, they wound up losing by 16 to Washington. So they definitely want to reward their home fans with a good showing tonight. So take the over so you don't have to overthink this thing too much. All right, so we move forward, and our next game up is going to be this one. It's going to be the 76ers and the Pacers. The Pacers are actually the road team here. The Pacers coming here 6-4, while the 76ers are 8-1. The Pacers are playing much better basketball, and I said this in the preview that the Pacers were going to be a better team than what they are actually advertising them to be. They had won 3 in a row, and they dropped their last game on Sunday to Philadelphia. Philadelphia's been playing great basketball. They got a new mentality, a new look. They got the cancer out the room in James Harden, and they've been on ever since. This team is actually right now won their last 8 in a row, and they've started this month 6-0. They were able to get a good win by 11 points on Sunday against Indiana, so they get Indiana on a back-to-back because they're in the same pool. So pretty much you look at this one, is Indiana ready to snap a streak tonight? That's the biggest question. Now, a lot of people probably will overbet and overemphasize Philadelphia because Philadelphia hasn't lost since opening night. They've been an absolute gem of a team. And you know what? I think tonight they're due for a loss. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and take the Pacers as the PrimeTime Angles, dog of the day, presented by Bet Us. And you guys, hopefully we can get this one home. We've been doing pretty good with the dog bet of the day. I'll make sure to release those numbers at the end of the month so you guys know exactly where we're sitting at in that regard as well, too. But all in all, this was a very, very difficult decision, but I think the Pacers are going to be good tonight. I'm trusting Halliburton. I'm trusting Miles Turner tonight to go ahead and get us a good win. Buddy Hield, do your thing, because I think Philadelphia is going to be a screaming over bet tonight because, the in-season tournament, Philly's been balling 8-1. They ain't really lost no games, but they had difficulty in their last time out in the in-season tournament because I don't think that they were taking it as seriously as they should have. Then they took it seriously, but they were playing Detroit at the same time too. So there's a lot of just questions. But all in all, my dog of the day is going to be the Pacers. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so we have ourselves up next, which is going to be the Battle of the Rooks. You got Chet Holmgren for the Thunder, and then you have Wemby for the Spurs. And you know what? Crazy thing is, Spurs are 7-3. Don't look again. Spurs are 7-3. I can't even believe the Spurs are 7-3. The Thunder 6-4. So the impact of Wemby has been prevalent. It's been great. It's been awesome. But I still don't understand how this team is. And no, they're not. And you know what? I knew I was not wrong when I said 7-3. I knew I was tripping when I put that up. This team is 3-7 because I've been following them and I'm like, they haven't won that damn much. And so I have to fix that mistake. And you know what? I got to fire. That's me firing myself because I'm the one that does the graphics as well too. But the Spurs 3-7, the Thunder 6-4. It's a 10.5 point spread tonight. Over under 238.5 as well too. This game is going to be on TNT. The Thunder probably haven't been on TNT since Kevin Durant and Westbrook were there. So tonight is a very, very special night, I guess, in a sense. And this, I think, is going to be Wemby's first time on TNT as well, too. No, his second time on TNT. But this is like a showcase game because he's going against another rookie they feel is better than him. But this team has struggled in the month of November. They've lost 5 in a row. And you know what? Miami, they beat them by 5. They got beat by Minnesota by 7. New York beat them by 21. They got beat by 41 by Indiana. They got beat by 7 by Toronto. So this team is going through the motions right now. October was okay for Wemby. They went ahead. They went 3-2. They got a little bit of excitement to them, and they've been pretty whack ever since. So pretty much with that, tonight, I feel like what you do here is you say to yourself, don't overthink this thing. A lot of people are probably going to be chasing the over tonight because they know that the Spurs defense is not playing that great defensively, but I think that Wemby's going to play up to the standard of the game because he doesn't want to get outplayed by Chet Holmgren. Because if he does get outplayed, Twitter's going to eat his ass up. So he's trying to come play tonight, even though he doesn't play for the what do I want to say? He doesn't play for the head pad of Twitter, but still, at the same time, they do read that stuff. And you know what? He will get absolutely cooked if he lets Chet Holmgren do what he wants tonight. So I like the under 238.5. It's too many points for me. I think that they're going to figure out a way to shut down the rest of the team, and they'll let Wemby be a scorer tonight if he wants to be. That's the whole thing. And that's how I feel like how you can beat the Spurs because Wemby's not going to hit you for 100 points. He's not going to hit you for 60 points. He'll be lucky enough to get you like 38 like he did that one night. And that was just because pretty much his team stopped playing, started feeding him the ball because they knew that was the only way they could win that game. So it is what it is at the end of the day. But I do like the under 238.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. We have ourselves now the Thunder and the Nuggets and the Clippers. Man, boy, I'm telling you, it must be lunchtime, right? Clippers 3-6, Nuggets 8-2, 4-5. 4.5 point spread tonight. Also over under 224.5. So this should be a very, very, back and forth game in a sense, maybe. Or it could just be a Denver blowout because this team has no cohesiveness since James Harden got here because they had to get rid of key players to make sure this trade happened. They got rid of guys that were the glue to this team. The Clippers were one of the rare teams in the NBA that developed a core. They got rid of about 40% of the core to bring in James Harden to have him try to buy in as a team player, and it looks like it's not going to work from what I'm seeing. I want it to work. It would be great for it to work. It would be make the Clippers the must-see TV team in LA, but it just might not work because James Harden says he's not even in shape at this moment. And I think that he would probably be somebody that winds up, you know, just going with the flow with the team and wind up doing the same exact thing he's done in all the other places he's landed at. Houston didn't do shit. Went to Brooklyn after, didn't do shit. And went to the Sixers, absolute waste of time. And he's going to come to the Clippers and he's going to have to understand you're not going to be able to waste the Clippers' time because now you back in LA and the homeboys and everybody that knows you, they'll get on your ass about looking bad. You know what I mean? So I know he's going to play up to James Harden status or close to it. But if he needs 2 weeks off, let him get 2 weeks off so y'all don't have to worry about him at this moment. But he's kind of paralyzed the roster a little bit. So once the Clippers make probably another deal that will clean up the mess that they just made on themselves, then they'll probably get back into playing better basketball. But for now, I think they're cooked tonight. I'm going to go ahead and take the Nuggets with the 4.5. I think they absolutely wrecked the Clippers. And so with that, we move forward. And nephew, I'll answer your question in a second. I'm just trying to move through and get to our final game, and that's going to be this. It's going to be the Warriors and the Wolves. And this one right here is another rematch from the other night. The Wolves actually went ahead and finished off the Warriors with a great self-run by Ant Edwards, who was, kind of ticked off a little bit after having some words with Draymond Green. So instead of punching Draymond in the mouth like what most of us would want to do, he went ahead and just ate him up and dropped a quick 12, 15 points on him in the game. That was Kobe style to the absolute max. That's exactly why they call Kobe the Black Mamba. That's exactly why Kobe was one of the most feared scorers to ever play this game. And that's exactly how you get the respect of the people. When you go right at a guy who's running his mouth and you absolutely annihilate him. And that's exactly what Ant Edwards did. Does Ant Edwards own the Warriors? Probably not yet, but it seems like he's on his way to owning the Warriors. And this team is really a team that's really out of their wit right now. This team is not playing good basketball. They're 6-5 on the season as well, too. I know their record's not showing up, but they're not playing good basketball at this point. And I think that this is going to be something that, triggers this team to make some moves. And those moves will probably be with Wiggins or Klay Thompson moving on. But I would think they would get rid of Wiggins before they get rid of Klay Thompson because they already went a few months without Wiggins last year and they were still a good team. So, they get back assets if they get rid of Wiggins because they can't get rid of Draymond because they're kind of stuck on that contract with him. And they just not going to give up Klay because what happens in the Klay situation is you probably will send Klay to a team that's not that good, and they'll agree to a buyout. And you know who's going to sign Klay as soon as they agree to that buyout? The Lakers. So you don't want to really risk the fact that if you lose Klay Thompson via trade, where him and his agent finagled to get a buyout, and then he's headed to LA. That would be something that would be absolutely crazy, but it is very possible if they try to play that game with Klay Thompson. Now, I would say that Wiggins will probably be the trade piece that can yield them the players that they want to get, but they're going to have to go after veterans as well too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But when it gets down to the game tonight, I like the Wolves here. I think the Wolves absolutely are in the Warriors' head right now. They're the better team, in my opinion, because they have the best player on the court, Anthony Edwards. And if Anthony Edwards plays to his capability tonight, they should duplicate the same exact thing that they did Sunday to the Warriors. So I'm taking the minus 145 on the Wolves tonight. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And we have I have no clue what was going on with that. But yeah, I'm just reading questions as well too. But yeah, with that, I'm taking the Wolves minus 145. Let me go ahead and answer some questions about this real quick. Now, you asked me how do I feel about LeBron's career at this point? If he would have went to Miami, you know what? I think a lot of times let me get the question out so everybody else can see it. Okay, so do you think LeBron's career would have been the same if he didn't go to Miami? LeBron James was always destined to be the best player in the NBA. It's like, what are we talking about? Like, seriously, like what's the point that people were trying to make now? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, LeBron James was destined to be a great NBA player. Okay. And if LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland, they would have figured out a way to get LeBron the stars that he needed to get. And it would have been fine. They would have been able to still go ahead and win a few championships under that situation, because people have to understand Boston was getting old at the time. Orlando was a team that was on the rise, but Howard was kind of at that point too much of a goofball to really win an NBA championship. But they were able to beat Cleveland because they had a better team offensively. They didn't have a better team defensively. They had a better team offensively, and they had a better coach. That's why they were able to win that series. When it came down to the Boston situation, Boston was just the big homies versus the little homies. And Boston and those three were overdue to get to a finals. Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett had never been to the finals before. So they checked off all the boxes to get to the point to where they got to. So the question about LeBron, and him and his greatness, it got to stop being questioned at the end of the day. You can love Jordan. You can love Kobe. You can love Magic. You can love Bird. You can love LeBron. You can love Kareem. But at the end of the day, these guys have molded and shaped our game, and they are the faces of basketball. There is no Mount Rushmore because there's too many great faces. I call them gods. And you know what? LeBron's one of the gods. That's what it goes down. We got basketball players, basketball legends, and we got basketball gods. And LeBron's one of them gods. And LeBron's so damn good that he's in year 21 and he's still a top 5 player. Most guys who are year 21 in the NBA are Udonis Haslem, sitting on a bench, just getting a paycheck to go ahead and rah guys and pump up your teammates and be the highest paid cheerleader in the NBA. Who's actually a cheaper assistant coach, because you don't have to have him be the assistant coach as the job, but he's the assistant coach. And you know what? This will be your most valuable player when somebody gets hurt, because he can always fill in. But LeBron James is much better than that. So, him being in year 21 and he's still the focal point of his team, that should just tell you the shit alone. Seriously, we got to stop having this argument. What are we arguing about now? We're not arguing about anything, because he's already outplayed Jordan by 7 years in a career. Come on, man. And he won a championship in year 18. So what are we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, seriously. Guys in their 21st year are not supposed to be this good. And he is. So We got to get over the fact that, he left Cleveland and went to Miami to go play with the boys. You know how good that was for the NBA? You know how many viewers the NBA brought in because of that? It's a business at the end of the day. And you couldn't do big business in Cleveland, but you can do big business in Miami. And that's exactly what happened. So with that, that's my 2 cents on that question right there. And pretty much you guys already know. If you guys ever want to ask me questions, you guys can always watch the show on YouTube or Facebook. Ask me a question. I will answer it on the air. I'll even put it on the air as well, too. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a final break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and take when I get back, we're going to talk tickets. Okay. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
Right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into our talking tickets. And up first, we're talking tickets. Let's go ahead and talk about the CBB PrimeTime PK6. And we got a 53-1 ticket today. We got New Hampshire +6. We got Duke, who's playing in a showcase game tonight against Michigan State. I'm not doing anything with Michigan State. Michigan State lost to they lost to a team that they ain't supposed to lose to. And they got cooked, too. That wasn't like they just lost a close game. They got cooked in that game. So -4 to Duke tonight. Duke should be getting way more points than this. Duke should probably win that game by at least 20. Queens money line tonight. That's Queens in North Carolina. That's Queens College. They are still kind of new to the Division I, but good little school over here. They can play. I like the -135 in this spot. And then we go into Philly tonight to go ahead and take Temple over Drexel. This is crazy. Temple is actually the dog in a game against Drexel. And, Drexel is not in the same conference as Temple. Temple plays in damn near a Power 5, damn near a power conference. Drexel plays in a small mid-major. It's weird that they're doing this tonight, but I understand. Drexel is the home team, and last night Penn did get the big upset over Villanova. So I know that's where the thinking's coming from, but I'm going to take the +140 on Temple tonight. Georgia Tech, home game for them tonight. Damon Stoudemire, their head coach now, he's looking to build something there, build something great there as well too. And you got to understand, this team is a few years removed from actually winning the ACC tournament, and they actually made a nice little run in the same tournament as well too that season. So, Georgia Tech is a team that you really have to go ahead and say to yourself that, if they can get some things going in the right direction, they should be a team that, is a spoiler in the ACC. They'll probably not make the tournament this year, though. And then Marquette, the number 4 team in the nation, they are playing in Illinois tonight. This is a really good game because you don't really know where it's going to go. This is a rivalry game as well, too, in a sense. So I'm taking Marquette tonight with the +2 because they could lose this game by 1, and we still cash the ticket. So with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our first MAC game of the night. It's going to be Akron and Eastern Michigan. I like Eastern Michigan in this spot. It's a 50-50 game, to be honest with you. Doesn't matter what the records are. Eastern Michigan's not that good of a team, and they played absolute nobodies to get a winning record this year. But All in all, though, they still got to get through the MAC, and they haven't been looking good. I like Akron coming in, but Akron just hasn't done enough for me to trust them tonight. But if they win, you know what? Good for them. But I think Eastern Michigan is going to be good enough, and I'm taking them with the minus 165. Then we have the over 19.5 for the first half. They're trying to say this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I think that we're going to get ourselves at least 3 touchdowns by the half. That's why I'm taking the over 19.5 here. Then we have the Eastern Michigan first quarter. I'm taking a plus 105. I think Eastern Michigan should be up in this game. I'm looking at kind of that they can probably wire to wire this game as well, too. Akron under 17.5 team total. Akron just doesn't have a great offense, and Eastern Michigan has always been known for pretty good defense. So I think they'll keep them in check, and I think we'll have them at 17.5 today. I think this is a good number. They land on 17 and nothing better than that. So it is what it is. We move forward. All right. So we have ourselves Western Michigan, Northern Illinois tonight. -4 on Northern Illinois tonight. Minus 165 first half on Northern Illinois tonight. The over 12.5 for the first quarter. And then I'm going to go ahead and take NIU on the alternate line with the plus 135 tonight with the 5.5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Then we have Toledo Bowling Green bets, and Bowling Green's coming in here plus 310. That's where we got them at. My dog of the day. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Hopefully we can get this bad boy home. Playing the under 26.5 minus 125 first half. Then I'm also going to go ahead and take the spread on Bowling Green first quarter with the plus 3. And then we wrap it up with Toledo going under 30 points tonight. I expect this game to actually go under, and I expect it to be really close. That's the whole thing. I think the game finishes up more like 24-20, something of that range. You know what I mean? So there it is. There it is. That's our college football for tonight. Let's go ahead and get into pro sports, and we have the NBA. And in the NBA tonight, we got the NBA Super High Five, world famous bets as well too. One of the world part of the world famous bets list. This is one of my OG bets that I've been giving out for almost a decade. So NBA Super High Five, 31-1. Over 222.5 with the Heat and the Hornets. We have the Pacers as our NBA dog of the day with the plus 175. We also have the under 238.5 with the Spurs and the Thunder. Then we have the Nuggets at the minus 4.5 against the Clippers. And then we end the night with the Wolves trying to get us home the nightcap. And if we can go ahead and check off every box, we can go ahead and cash out a 30-1 ticket. If you put $20 on this bad boy, you will get back $640 on it. So yeah, pretty much these aren't what I would say lottery parlays or anything like that. They are high value parlays because they can be hit, but they're a big number to hit them at. I know a lot of people like the easy way out and they'll take a 10-1 and love it. But you know what? I've hit these plenty of times, so I'm not worried about it. And tonight looks like one of those nights. We just missed the pick six yesterday, 93-1 by one game. One damn game, the Siena game. So it is what it is, and we move forward with that. So pretty much another great show today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in or listening to the show, because I know sometimes people can't exactly watch me talking, but they can listen to me talking. So thank you so much for either listening or tuning into the show today. I'll be back tomorrow at noon, our regular scheduled time. Talking a lot of going to be talking a lot of different stuff. Going to be having our college football list out as well too, and talking AP top 25 as well. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. And you know what? As I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best.